Okay, here's another one. Now we have a power of 3. We have a different base. But notice that our base graph actually looks the same as it would for a 2 to the x graph. That's why these graphs are actually both the same. They're real similar. The 3 to the x graph is slightly steeper than the 2 to the x graph is, but it still will have the same y-intercept of going through 0, 1. So this is the base graph that we're going to use. Let's first take a look at this one to see what kind of transformation that we actually have going on here. So for this one, I need to make the x come first because transformations, you always want the x to come first. So I'm going to first start by switching the order there, negative x plus 2. And then I'm going to factor out a negative, and I get x minus 2 there. So this is what we have left over. What we have happening is now we have a negative in the exponent position. A negative in the exponent position, what that does is it's going to take the graph and it flips it this direction over the vertical axis. So therefore, it's going to look like this dotted line right here. It flips over and it's actually going to be going the other direction, so it's going to be falling. So I know that that's what my graph is going to eventually look like when I draw it. Now what happens is it's going to move down 3 units, the minus 3 in the end, and also it's going to move 2 places over to the right from where it is here. So those are the transformations that are occurring. Horizontal asymptote, always this number right here. It's going to y equals negative 3. Next, I want to find my x-intercept. My x-intercept is where I put in a 0 for y. So I have 0 equals 3 to the, I'm going to go ahead and distribute that minus sign out. In fact, I'll just go ahead and leave it as the 2 minus x. That's okay to leave that in the original form. So I have 2 minus x minus 3. You can use the original one when you're solving this. I just wanted to put it in this form to show you what the different transformations would be. So I'm just going back to the original one for solving purposes here. The 3 here, I'm going to add that to the other side of the equation. That I'm going to write as 3 to the 1. So 3 to the first power. I have the same bases. I can use my equal bases property to say that 1 equals 2 minus x. I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. If I do, I get negative 1 is equal to negative x. And if I divide by a negative, I get that my x is going to be 1. So there's my x-intercept. X-intercept is going to be 1. Next, I want to find my y-intercept, and that's where I put in a 0 for x. And once again, I'm going to use the original equation there. So I have 3 to the 2 minus 0 minus 3. Y equals 3 squared minus 3, which would be 9. So 9 minus 3 will be 6. So x-intercept is going to be 6. So now let's put all the information together. So first of all, I know that the graph is going to cross at negative 3 right here. That's my horizontal asymptote that I determined earlier, negative 3. It got shifted down 3. Here's my 2 intercepts. X-intercept is 1. My y-intercept is 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there it is right there. The graph needs to look like the dotted line right there. So I need to draw my graph in to make it look like it. So the graph is going to fall. It's going to come down this way, hit these 2 points, and it's going to curve out, and it's going to follow the dotted line this way. That would be your general sketch of what it looks like. It does fall down through this way, but it's going to eventually level out to 3 because 3 was your horizontal asymptote that you have for this one. So it's always good again to make sure you know what kind of transformations are occurring. So to review that, it was flipped over. Looks like the dotted line. We flipped it over the vertical axis because the negative here in that position. We have the minus 3 that moved it down 3 units. And you see that the whole thing is actually shifted over this way to the right. That would reflect the minus 2 that you have inside here. So it was actually moved 2 places over from what the graph was originally.